Hey everyone, ThyWorm here with my top 10 suggestions for some quality of life improvements, sourced from the community, so you might see your suggestions in here as well. Let's dive right into this thing. Number 10. Pressing escape closes the inventory. I'm still not used to this. I keep clicking escape and then I am a little surprised to see the main menu. After almost 200 hours of gameplay, it is just something that is so basic in other games that it hits me every time. This is why I can't get used to it, because I can't think of a decent game with an inventory that doesn't let you close it using escape. In Pagan Online, escape unfortunately brings up the main menu, regardless of where you use escape. We're trapped into our inventories for now, unless you either click the I again or use your mouse. Fixing this would be much appreciated. Small quality of life fix, but a pretty impactful one nonetheless. Number 9. More Autopick options. The Autopick change in itself was a nice quality of life improvement, but Mad Hat games can definitely expand on this system. It would be nice if keys get picked up automatically, for example, because there's no reason to not pick those up. More so, it would be really great if we were able to specify loot quality as part of the options. I would basically only want to pick up flawless base items, epic recipes and legendary blueprints, and that's about it. Another addition to this would be a filter on legacy level. I would only want to pick up legacy level 6 blueprints and above, for example, because the lower level legacy legendaries are completely useless to me. Armed with some auto loot options like these, the game flow would be optimized a lot. Inventory management would be reduced to an absolute minimum. Looting and hovering over all sorts of items on the ground would be something from the past. You would be able to focus on things this game is about, which is the snappy combat and dodge mechanics. Number 8. A restart option for missions. If you want to restart a mission, there's currently 3 ways to do it. Complete the mission and hit restart, quit the mission, go to the Pantheon and restart manually, or die and restart. But sometimes, actually, maybe quite often, you just want to restart the mission. You're not dead, you don't want to die actually, you just want to restart the mission. However, in this patch 0.4.2, there are no options to do this. Adding a simple button in the menu that would allow players to restart their missions is going to be super useful for those times you just want to farm some level 44 monsters without doing Yusut himself. Number 7. Junk options and sell all junk. Because the Autopick options are somewhat limited and because we don't have a loot filter, trust me, we'll get to that, your inventory currently gets cluttered quite a bit. It would therefore be nice to have a system in place that could somehow mark loot as junk. This way you're not constantly hovering over items in your inventory to figure out if they were good items or not. Or you don't have to keep putting bad items you want to sell at specific places in your inventory, which is what I'm doing currently. A great quality of life change would be that we can mark a bunch of stuff as junk, and then a button at the vendor allowing us to sell the entire thing basically. I'd welcome a change like that a lot. Did I miss something so far? Do you have a suggestion for a quality of life update? Let me know in the comments down below guys, and if there's enough of them I might make an additional video. Number 6. Resurrect in co-op. Pagan Online has co-op, and while it works pretty well and receives small upgrades each patch, there's also a few things that it desperately needs. And the main thing for me at least should be an option to revive your teammate when they die. I'm not totally sure how something like this would be implemented. I'm not really sure what mechanics would be in place to facilitate a revive, if it's a spell or a button or an ability or you walking up to the person and clicking R, who knows. All I know is that it really sucks to go into the gauntlet together, have one person die after 8 minutes, and then basically needing to decide to watch your teammate play for another 30 minutes, hoping they make it, or whether you need to cancel the run and try again. To me, offering co-op is a really good idea, but without a function to revive your friends, it loses some of its appeal. I think a small change like this, even if it's implemented in a bit of a wonky way, should significantly help the enjoyment of co-op. Number 5. A loot filter. For those who are unfamiliar with the loot filter, it's basically a small piece of code that you import into the game and it filters the loot. It's pretty straightforward when you think about it. In the settings of a loot filter you can specify which items should show up as loot and which don't. Games like Path of Exile have these, and the developers have implemented support specifically for loot filters, so players can create loot filters that the entire community can download. I've talked about this before. You've been asking about this a lot. We would all like a loot filter. It's either this or some very specific Autopick options, but honestly, I would prefer a loot filter. The main reason is that it just doesn't show anything you don't want to see, whereas more Autopick options still show all the loot available but only picks up what you specified. Main reasons for wanting a loot filter is currently the gauntlet, but also the loot in expedition missions can get quite overwhelming at times. Mostly though, it saves a lot of time hovering over items and managing your inventory. Number 4. Auto refill potions. There have been numerous times where I have started another mission with very few potions because I forgot to buy new ones. Potions can be quite essential though, and discovering that you don't have them with you can be a real pain. I would suggest that potions basically automatically refill wherever you are. Whether it's at the end of a mission, in the Pantheon, when you die, when you restart, it doesn't matter. Just refill the potions automatically so that we're never out of health potions again. It would save quite a few people a lot of frustration. These things are practically free anyway, so I don't see any reason to not implement something like this. Number 3. More tabs. My stash and inventory and blueprints tab and recipe tab is kind of overloaded. I've logged around 200 hours into the game as of now, and that has taken its toll. When I do feel that inventory management should be reasonable and that there shouldn't be an infinite amount of stuff you can carry around, I think we can all agree that the amount of space we have currently to store things is simply insufficient. Now, there could be reasons why this isn't implemented, and it might simply be some technical limitation. All those additional items have to be stored on the server, which simply takes up additional capacity, and there are limits to such capacity. I think once Mad Hat Games increased their server capacity somewhat, we might also get a few extra tabs. Talking about server capacity, here's one for you. Number 2, waiting for server. The waiting for server message has already been reduced a bit since the launch of the game, but it is still there. And when you're playing an online game with no offline options, which isn't a bad thing in itself by the way, server latency should be optimal. While playing, everything runs perfectly fine, at least for me, connecting from the Amsterdam region to the European servers, but once in the Pantheon, it's a very different story. Whatever the reason may be, and this is surely a technical thing, the optimization of server latency should take place at some point in time, so we can actually sell stuff without delays, or move stuff around in the inventory without delays, or craft or reforge stuff without delays. There was a small mention on the roadmap about server stability, even though it didn't have a lot of detail. You'd expect this to be gone at some point though. And last but definitely not least, a highly requested change. Number 1, dismantling of items. Being able to dismantle items would be absolutely huge, and it would solve so many things. Mainly though, it would incentivize people to actually pick up and potentially craft gear, and it would solve the relative shortage of epic crafting materials which are currently just hard to get a hold of. Dismantling is a core mechanic in many games, and for good reason. You create another fun way to get a bunch of materials, you diversify gathering or crafting requirements. It's overall a no-brainer, I would say. The main thing is that implementing this might not be so easy. That's basically the main drawback. Also, this wasn't specifically mentioned on the roadmap within upcoming features, and I did kind of expect it to be there actually. But maybe the new crafting system has this feature, or maybe the new crafting system doesn't need something like this anymore. If you want more beginner guides, news and educational content regarding Pagan Online, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon. Check out my streams as well on Monday, Wednesday and Friday 8 PM Central European Time on twitch.tv/ThyWorm, where we are all one big happy family helping each other out with quests and advice. Thanks for watching, I will see you soon, bye bye.